chapter 25, and we're going to be in verses 1 through 3. You know, this month, we are celebrating the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And you know, He has given us so many gifts. And the best one being the gift of salvation. Have you ever thought about what we could give Him back in return? You know, you can't go to Walmart and buy something to give to Him. What can we give Jesus that will honor and bless Him? And as I was thinking about that, you know, this season's built on giving. And there's a whole industry out there based on that. And as I was thinking, I came on to what Jesus wants us to give Him. And what He wants us to give Him is very simple and easy to do. But a lot of us fail to do it. And I want to read these verses 1 through 3. And we will discuss what we can give Jesus. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the groom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they didn't take oil with them. But the wise one took oil in their flask and with their lamps. When the groom was delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. I want you to notice something here. 5 had not prepared for the coming of the groom, and 5 had. So what can we give Christ? Us being prepared for His coming. Us being ready at a second's notice. I want you to notice here, the groom was delayed. And so people went to sleep. They went to sleep. But 5 of those virgins went to sleep prepared. 5 went to sleep unprepared. Prepare is important. To give you a modern concept, are you prepared to bug out? You know, we got these preppers out there. And they have got a pack packed up where all they got to do is grab the pack and hit the road. You know, and in that pack, they got things to survive with. Well, they're ready to go at a moment's notice. You know, some of these guys drive with a prepared pack in their vehicle. So no matter where they're at, they've got a prepared pack to bug out. So the question I want to ask you today, do you have a bug out pack? Think about what I just asked. Do you have a bug out pack? Have you packed everything you need if you have to leave at a moment's notice? If Jesus returns tomorrow and the horn is sounded, are you ready to go? You know, there's a lot of people that come to church and go through the motions. But are they ready to go? Have they gotten the foundation? Have they studied? Or do they believe that Christ is returning? Have you prepared yourself? You see, that's what that bug out bag is. Those preppers have prepared themselves mentally and physically to bug out when stuff goes sideways. We are the ultimate preppers. Have we prepared ourselves mentally and spiritually to bug out when the warning horn is sounded? Are we ready? Are we watching for the signs? You know, God has given us signs of when the time is approaching. Not when it's going to happen, but when the time is approaching that we can prepare ourselves and be ready to go at a moment's notice. You see, there are people out there that are like the 5 virgins. They have got extra oil. And then there's people out there that are like the other 5 virgins that only bought the lamp. So there's going to be Christians out there that not only bought the Bible, but studied it. That's the extra oil. And there are people out there that have bought the Bible and it's propping up a kitchen leg or a table somewhere. They don't open it up. So they're not prepared. You know, that's like a prepper. He may buy a duffel bag, but if he doesn't put anything in it, it's not going to do him any good when something happens. So, are we prepared? Are you ready? You know, just like those preppers out there, if they didn't believe that something was going to happen to cause chaos in this world, they wouldn't be spending the money, the time, and the effort to be prepared, to be ready for something to happen. The question we need to ask ourselves is, 1, do we believe that Christ is coming back? And do we believe it enough to prepare ahead of time? To be ready? Are we ready to serve? Is He on our mind? Do you think these 5 virgins that had extra oil, do you think the groom was on their mind? They were waiting in anticipation and expectation that he was coming. And then those other 5, do you think the groom was on their mind? They weren't waiting with anticipation because they hadn't prepared for it. They weren't waiting with expectation because they hadn't prepared for it. The 5 that had prepared were waiting to serve. They were already serving by being prepared, by believing. Do we seek to serve others? You know, one of the things that Jesus has told us to do is to spread the gospel, is to tell the others, is to be the example in our life, in those around us. Are we prepared to do that? Have we got the joy of Jesus in us? He tells us to joyfully serve. Do we serve other people? Do we give of ourselves? That doesn't necessarily mean giving money. That simply means giving ourselves. Be willing to help others and tell others. One of our teachers at school, had the same thing Dad had a week before last, where they shocked him. And before he left on Thursday, he was doing it at 8 o'clock Friday morning. I went there and I said, look, I want to pray with you. I want to pray over you. And he said, thank you. Now, this is Episcopalian. But he was grateful that I was willing to serve him by a simple prayer. It doesn't have to be something outrageous or hard to do. It simply has to be our willing to serve in any capacity that he gives us, and do it out of joy, not out of duty, or we think it's something we need to do. Are we ready to be persecuted? Well, that's one people don't want to think about. You know, we live in a country where persecution is foreign to us. You know, we get talked about and we get treated bad every once in a while. But you want to know something? We're not under a death sentence, as some of our brothers and sisters in other countries are. They know what persecution is. We really don't. They understand what it truly means to be dependent on God for everything. You know, in the end times, it tells us that if we don't have the mark of the beast, we won't be able to buy, trade, or sell. We'll have to be dependent on God. Those who come to him during that time. You can't be in both worlds. You're going to have to make a choice at that time. Just like our brothers and sisters living in Islamic world or in Asian countries where being a Christian could be a death sentence. They have to make a choice. Either they're with God or not with him. They understand what it means to have faith only in him. We, on the other hand, really don't have the concept. We've had it so easy in our lives. I mean, let's take a look at this right now. Our government has taken being dependent on God completely away from us. And I'm going to tell you how they did it. It's called food stamps and welfare. Our government says you don't have to have faith in God to take care of you. We're going to feed you and we're going to give you money. Do you believe that? Do you see that? Another thing that Satan has slipped in to take away our faith. When you depend on the government to secure you, you're not dependent on God. Well, what about Social Security? What about Medicaid? How long have you paid into Social Security? How long have you paid into Medicaid? I don't know about you, but on my check, it's got a Medicaid tax on there. I done paid my portion in. But you know what? Most of the people on Medicare and on whatever it is, whichever one it is, and on welfare hadn't paid a single dime in. They're not depending on God. They're depending on the government for their security. Now, my question to you is, are you ready to be persecuted? When that time comes, are you ready to stand for God no matter the consequences that will come? Think about what I'm fixing to say here. God, Jesus Christ, left heaven to be persecuted for us. He chose to leave. He chose to be put on the cross. He chose to suffer for us. Are we now ready to choose to suffer for Him? As we go through this season, we need to be thinking about that. We need to be thinking about what He gave us and what we can give Him back. Are we listening? Are we listening expectantly for the horn? And I talk to people who go to church and they deny Christ returning. It's not now. It's going to be later. And that tells me something. That tells me they haven't cracked the Bible. They haven't been reading and studying. And believe me, studying is preparation. Studying is prepping. Studying is storing up food, water, in a bug-out bag. Tell me they're not praying. And it also tells me they're not living for Him. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to tell you, I pray. I pray for Christ to hurry and come back. I'm just going to be honest. I pray for that. Not because I want to see people destroyed, but I want to see things better. I'm prepping. Are we listening for His voice? I mean, there's a lot of people that are actively living in the world, letting the world influence them. They're concerned about wars and all this other stuff going on. You know, until man is fixed, there's going to be wars. There's going to be bad things happening to good people. Because man is flawed. The only thing that can turn us from the world and the world's influence is Jesus Christ. That is the only thing that's going to fix us. That's the only thing that's going to fix this world. And we need to be seeking Him, and we need to be helping others seek Him everywhere we go. You know, I've told y'all before, look at yourself as a mirror. What are you reflecting back? Are people seeing you? Or are they seeing Jesus? These 5 virgins that were prepared, people are seeing Jesus. Those that are not, they're not seeing Jesus. Are we listening to His command? Because one day He's going to come back, the horn's going to sound, and he's going to say, come home. How many is going to recognize that voice? How many is going to say, oh, wait a minute, I got to go do this? Because when he makes that announcement, he's going to expect you to go. If you got to do something else, you're going to miss the boat. We need to be paying attention, even when it's not convenient for us. Even when it's on championship weekend. We need to be listening for the voice of Jesus Christ. You had 5 virgins that were listening, 5 that were not. 5 that paid attention when the groom gave them instructions, and 5 that put it off. Well, he ain't come now. It'll be later before he comes. And then, are we serving? How many gifts have you bought? Huh? Let's think about it for a moment. How many gifts have you bought? This time of year, people spend an ungodly amount of money for things that people probably don't even want. They got so much stuff, they put it up and probably don't see it again. But I'm here to tell you today, there is one gift you can give that will last for all eternity. And that's telling people about Jesus Christ. Are we telling others? Are we showing others Jesus in our life daily? Are we living the example of our faith? Can people look at us and say, that's a Christian? You know, sometimes people have come to Christ not by what we say, but how we live. Sometimes that's all the witnessing we need to do. Is the example that we show. Are we spreading the joy that God gives us? Are we spreading it? Do people want to be around us? Are we the ones that people come to when they're down? Just get a shot of joy? Or are we the ones that, I really don't know what you need to do. I'm having a tough time myself. Jesus tells you, I will give you joy, rest, and peace. And I'll give it abundantly. Now, you know why he gives it abundantly? Because he wants us to give it to others, to share it. And man, I really had was really hit over the head with this one. Are we living in heaven now? Well, no, I'm living on earth. But if you are his, are you not heaven bound? Is not your expectation heaven? Is not your desire heaven? So are you not then living in heaven? You're not living in this world. You're passing through this world. There's a difference in living and passing through. I live in my house, but I pass through Winona to get there. Okay? Heaven is our home, not this world. It's not about the gifts that we give each other that is man-made. It is about the eternal gift that God has gave us. Jesus Christ. That is the most important gift that God has given us. And the gift we can give Him back is being prepared, being ready when the moment's called. Are you ready for when the call comes to answer it? This week, as we go through each and every day this week, start being prepared. Start being ready to answer the call.